Hello everyone, welcome to Marlin Chess Kids. Today we show the game played by Alejandro and Caria, and the game complete in only 26 moves. And this game you have a very beautiful queen sacrifice and checkmate with the knight. Let's see how the game starts. The game starts with the pawn to e4, c6, knight e2, d5, and here you have the Caro-Kann opening, and after this e5 was played, and now the bishop to f5, then the knight to d4, attacking the bishop, and bishop to g6, and now h4 was played, and the white trying to attack with the pawn to h5 and attack the bishop. And in this position, the black play queen to b6, attacking the knight. Another possibility that you can play is to play a h5 to prevent the pawn from pushing forward and attack the bishop. So queen b6 was played, and now h5. Then after this, the queen takes the knight, queen takes d4, and now the pawn takes the bishop, which h takes g6. And in this position, after move 7, the black is better, and in this position the knight, the rook is pinning, and if you capture with the pawn, then the white will be winning the rook. Therefore, if you capture with the pawn, f takes g6, and the black is better as well. After queen to e2, then the knight can just continue to develop with the knight to d7. So in the actual game, after this position, the black capture the pawn and go for the check. Queen takes e5 and check the king. And here, the bishop to e2. After this, the pawn f takes a g6. Then the white continue to make the attack by playing a d4 and attack the queen. And now queen to f6 was played. And at this position, the white play c3. A stronger move will be a c4, and this will remain equal. And if the game continue with the pawn capture, then the bishop can capture, or you just develop the knight. So if you use the bishop to capture, and the black will just continue to play such as a knight to d7, then the bishop, the queen goes to b3 and go for attack the knight at g8 and win the knight, and also have the idea to attack the pawn at b7. So you have many ideas to move at this stage. So if the black go for a long castle, then the bishop can go to e6, pinning the knight. And if you capture the knight, it's also possible to play. And after this e6, you prevent the bishop to come up, but the bishop can just capture the pawn at h7. So back to the position at Queen f6, c3 was played, and after this the knight to d7, and then the knight continued to play knight d2, then e5 was played and keep on the pressure of the white, and after this the knight to f3, and now the black push e4 attacking the knight, then the knight to g5, and this knight will be able to capture the pawn at h7, and knight h6 was played to prevent the capture of the pawn, and now the queen to b3 and attack the pawn at b7. After this, black go for a long castle, and now bishop to e3 was played, and then the black play bishop to d6, and this is the first 15 move, and you can see that the position of the black is clearly better with winning 2 pawn. And after this the white play g4, and this idea is to allow the knight to capture the sacrificed pawn. If the knight capture the sacrificed pawn, then the bishop will capture back the knight, and after this the white will be better, therefore the black cannot capture the pawn. So after this position, if the rook d to e8, and here the white can go for a long castling, and after this bishop to f4 can be played, and now if your pawn, the bishop capture, then the queen capture, and we will be check the black king and win the knight. So after g4 was played, the black played rook d to f8, and then the knight goes to h3 and preparing to push the pawn and attack the queen and the knight at the same time and for both of these pieces. Another possibility to play is the knight takes e4, and after pawn capture, then g5 can be played, and here we will attack the queen and the knight. So in the actual game, after the knight h3, queen e6 was played, and now c4. Then in the actual game, king b8 was played. A more better move will be pawn takes c4. After pawn takes 4 is if you capture with the bishop, then the queen will capture the pawn at g4, and here you have more activity for the black. So king b8 was played, and now the knight to g5 attacking the queen, and now queen to e7 continue to attack the knight. And also strongly threatening with the knight to f6 and attack the pawn. After this position, c takes d5, and now the c takes d5, and in this is the 20th move, and the black is still slightly better. So after this position, the queen takes d5, and now the bishop goes to f4 to go for the trade-off, and also attack the knight. Then knight to e6 was played, attacking the rook. And here the black play bishop takes e3. Then the pawn takes e3. And after this, the queen goes to b4 and check the king, and also able to capture the b2 pawn. After this, king to e1. And at this position, the black capture the pawn, and this is a mistake that the black play, and this caused the black to lose the game. I give a couple of seconds to figure out how to white continue to play and mate in 5. Well, congratulations for those who found the answer, and for those who like to enjoy the show, here are the move. In this version, if you think of capture the rook, it will be a mistake, because the queen can capture and check the king, and also can win the rook. For example, take this, the queen can capture, and now if the king to d2, then you can just continue to check, and if the king to d1, then you can just capture the knight and you'll be completely winning. And if you capture the knight here, then the rook will bring to c8 and continue to attack the king with the queen to c1, and will be checkmate, and the black will be winning. So therefore, the continuation will be as this: queen to d6 will be the first check the king, and if the king come up to c8, then you will have a simple queen to c7 checkmate. And if the king move to a8, then you use the knight to c7 and continue check. And now the king to b8, then you have a knight to a6, and this one you have a open double check. And after this, the king, if you move to c8, you will have a queen to c7 checkmate again. And if your king move to a8, then you have a brilliant sacrifice with the queen to b8 check. And now the king cannot capture the queen because it's being protected by the knight. Therefore, if you use the rook, capture the queen, and you just have one simple move with the knight c7 and checkmate. And with this, thank you.